What's up, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the BMR NBA show. My name is Junior Browne, and as usual, I got my homie, Jordan Sharp. And speaking of Sharp, that's exactly what he was last night, because I went 0-3, so I'll just apologize right off the bat, although I will say, if you guys were paying attention to the results, we were right in the sense that you just can't be disrespecting teams based on their past. It's a new season. And so far, a lot of dogs are hurting a lot of feelings and hurting a lot of pockets, making the bookies happy, which never makes us happy. But I'll let Jordan take it away because both his picks hit. So, Jordan, what you got for us?
Yeah, the bookmakers have been, needless to say, getting a little shellacked in NFL this year. In a few instances, there's been a few nice some spreads that have in football-wise that have shifted towards the public. So it's only natural that the NBA had a night that it did last night to kind of even things out, because it always evens out in the end, as you know. But what was it, like 7 or 8 underdogs cashed or won outright last night? I mean, like the trendiest dog was the Grizzlies, and they got lost by 20. I mean, it was just an abysmal night. But you're right. I mean, I don't want to gloat too much on going 2-0 yesterday. Got the Zubats under on the prop bet on his rebounds, got the unders in the first half barely in Atlanta, New Orleans, and then easily in the full game. But yeah, I mean, it's like we said, I think we said we're not ready to disrespect the Pelicans, even though a lot of people were laying the points to the Hawks last night on the road. I didn't know anybody who was taking the points to the Wizards last night, but they won outright by 9, obviously. You and I talked about it. I think I kind of said it on the show. I was leaning Miami last night. They ended up winning pretty easily. And then our guys from Oklahoma City, man. That was the one where I had buyer's remorse. I should have known. I should have just jumped on it when I saw that LeBron was going to be out again. I didn't, and I'm very sad that I didn't. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, thank you for coming through again. You're an absolute maniac. And I mean, it just kept going last night. Minnesota, Sacramento, Cleveland. Oh, Cleveland. Speaking of a team I'm never going to disrespect ever again. Cleveland, I'm not going to say they're for real, but Cleveland on the defensive end is for real. Their offense is, still a little bit of a problem, but that starting lineup's kind of working out when I kind of laughed at it, to be honest, when they first unveiled that Lauri Markkanen was going to start at the 3. Clippers obviously have their issues right now and didn't have a ton of shots falling last night, but man, last night felt good. Not for a lot of people, though, but definitely felt good for the bookmakers. But we're going to try to reverse that here because we got a banger of a 6-game slate tonight.
And with that said, let's get to these games today because I have nothing to say about yesterday at all.
I think this first game is probably one that I think in normal circumstances I'd be kind of willing to take the points, but the Pistons is just not a team that I can really get behind. But and this is just why I'm going to throw this to you immediately because I almost have nothing to say about this game. But why are the Sixers laying 10 points? Like, what world are they 10 points better than anybody right now, even the Detroit Pistons? Like, I'm not going to say this is like disrespectful to the Detroit Pistons because they are who we thought they were. The Pistons are, but like you said, they're going to play hard. Like we've said this before about the Pistons. Like, they're going to come out and give you a game regardless of who's standing in front of you, regardless if they're on the road, regardless of one of the most hostile environments in the entire NBA in Philadelphia. They're going to still try to give you buckets tonight. And, it could be one of those things where, they're hanging in 2 to 3 possessions down the whole game. And in the last 4 or 5 minutes, they just, get blown out and they end up not covering the spread. And that's kind of why I'm a hard pass on it. But in no way, shape, or form am I laying points with Philadelphia in any world right now. And if you are, I have at least some concerns about your mental state right now.
Yeah, I'm going to say that this line is more based on the fact that Detroit's offense looks absolutely terrible to start the season. But there's 2 caveats. Number 1, they're without their number 1 pick. Number 2, they still play defense.
Yeah.
So even though they have trouble scoring, for those of you that don't take the time to watch games, and I know that I kind of sound, what's the word? A lot of my friends say I'm arrogant because I always say to them, like, bro, I'm arguing with a person that doesn't even watch games. Like, highlights does not tell you the story. Watch a Philadelphia game, and you'll notice something very, very fast. They run an offense where essentially they have Embiid in the mid to high post, one guy on his side who does an entry pass, and then he either goes one-on-one, which should be your offense because nobody can guard him in the NBA. If you're going to single guard Joel Embiid, you deserve to get torched. Other than that, though, they'll do a couple of different actions where they run guys off and do these little dribble handoffs or little flare screens off Embiid, but everything kind of centers around Embiid. And I bring that up to say, When they're not doing that, just look at how much standing around you see in the Philly offense. Like there's so many possessions where a dude crosses half court, goes and stands in a spot, and never moves from that spot the entire time. I bring that up to say, against the Detroit team, if Detroit comes and they even get any semblance of offense going, they have enough defense to give Philly problems. I'm not saying they have enough defense or offense to beat Philly, but when you're talking about Philly winning by margin, it makes me nervous when they're playing a team that seems to defend, that seems to give effort, which is another thing that all the players in Philly, I'm not going to say they don't always give effort, but I don't see them winning 50-50 balls as much as they should. I don't see a sense of urgency in certain situations where you should. So for me to lay this many points against them, it would have to be a situation where I think the team that they're facing is hopeless. Detroit's not hopeless. Again, are they a great team? No, they score like 91 points per 100 possessions. That's absurdly bad. But to lay this many points, absolutely not. It's the reason. So just not to be long-winded, it's the reason I'm not taking points with Detroit because I don't all the way trust them. But there's no way. I would more likely, like we used to say in previous iterations of the show, gun to my head, it's Detroit or nothing. There's no way that I'm laying this many points with Philly under any circumstances. Really, I wouldn't even lay this many points with Philly against the Thunder. I'm not laying this points with, or the Magic. I'm not laying this many points with Philly at all. That's just not going to happen. So that's why this is a pass for me. It's an interesting game because I still think Detroit. Listen, I'm not ready to judge them until Cade Cunningham plays because I want to see how many minutes he plays, what his role is, what type of players. Is he going to be a distributor? Is he going to be a shoot first guy? Like, I don't really know. And that changes the whole ceiling for this team. So right now we're betting on stopgaps, and I'm not really interested in getting invested in that. So unless you got something else to say about this game, Jordan, let's move it on to the next
we're just gonna say Jeremy Grant also officially questionable too, kind of keep me. That and Cade Cunningham. Those two guys were playing tonight, and this was 10.5, which it wouldn't be. But if it was, I would have already taken the points. But yeah, I mean, like you said, free bet. I'm forced to pick on this game. I'm taking the points. I think there's more going on to Philly than just the Ben Simmons drama right now. This team is too good to not look right now. And today may be that turnaround spot, but I don't think it will be.
Yeah. So with that said, let's move on to the next game. A game that I do have action on. The Atlanta Hawks traveling to the nation's capital, Washington D.C., to take on the New Look Wizards, I guess is what I'm going to call them. It's not enough games to say they're a different squad, but they are a different squad. New head coach, different players that are ready to contribute, and a different philosophy. So here's the thing. So I have the Hawks in the money line, -150. That number's actually gone down to something like -25, actually 125. I'm trying to look for it. So the number that I gave you is what it was at the time that I bet it. But if you're interested in betting the Hawks, you can definitely get a better number. I'm just trying to pull that up. When Jordan's goes, I'll give you guys a number. Or Jordan, if you want to pull that up real quick and just let me know what the updated money line is.
Yeah, sure. It's hold on one second. I got it right here. Yeah, it looks like still like -140, -145 in most shops I'm looking at. That may be old.
-145 at -1.5. See what I'm saying? Like, you got to know. Like, if you're line shopping, that is atrocious. I would not. Just wait, and you'll get a better number than that. Because I got it at -150 at -3. So at -1.5, it can't be still -145. That's ludicrous. But anyways, that's besides the point. The reason that I took this game this way is that -3 for me personally is right about the limit that I'm ready to lay with a road dog. Anything past 3.5, I'm usually looking to the home team unless I see a clear advantage. I see an advantage, not sure it's a clear one. If the Wizards are going to continue to play defense the way they are right now, their ceiling is much, much higher than people expected. I think they're right now 9th or 10th in the league in points per 100 possessions given up on defense. The problem for me with them is their offense. Because they have so many moving parts, because they have so many new guys, everyone's role is not 100% defined. Like, for example, Kyle Kuzma is a guy who has supreme confidence, as he should. He's a very talented player. He just came from LA. He's got a ring. he's played under the LeBron shadow where every single thing you do is in the spotlight, good or bad. So coming to Washington, where he doesn't really have so many eyes on him, he seems like he's free to play. But does that mesh well with the rest of his teammates? I think it'll work out because he's still a young guy trying to find his way and finally has a freedom that he hasn't had in a while. You got Dinwiddie, who doesn't look like he's 100% yet, but that's to be expected. He's been out for over a year. And that, I think, is mainly the reason why their offense is struggling. I think they're like 17th, 18th in the league in scoring, whereas usually they're in closer to the top half than not. I think that what people are underestimating, though, is that for the Atlanta Hawks to take the next step in their evolution as a team, to go from what they were last year to what they want to become, which is what everyone wants to become as a championship contender, is their defense. Last year, they were like 21st in the league in defense. Under Nate McMillan, that's improved significantly because obviously Lloyd Pierce's stats are mixed in there. But this year, they look good on defense. Before the show, we were talking about DeAndre Hunter. Listen, when you got a guy, especially in this league, that can lock up other scoring wings, that's a weapon that's worth. It's almost like you have a 20-point scorer. My old coach, when I was in high school, my coach used to say this. Some games, because I was lazy as a young kid, you know what I mean? And I put up 25. My coach would be like, all right, well, you scored 25, but the guy you were guarding scored 21. So really, you only gave me 4. And that's how you got to kind of look at DeAndre Hunter. Like, he might not give you 20, but he's going to hold a 20-point score to like 12, and that has added value. And that kind of thing spreads throughout the team. Clint Capella, even though he came from Houston where defense is not a priority, he does play defense. You've got guys that seem like they're buying into the system. You've got gamers, obviously Trae Young, Bogdanovich, John Collins is making posters every week. Yeah. You got a lot of guys that can really play on this team. You've got cohesiveness. You've got continuity. You've got a coach with a basketball philosophy they believe in. If you can't tell, I'm kind of all in on Atlanta right now until further notice. And I think that this line is very short, and now the price is even shorter. I mean, as soon as we get off the show, I'm about to smash this new price. So, yeah, I'm all over the Hawks. What about you, Jordan?
I definitely I'm not going to disagree with you one bit because there's some further things. And first off, I'll play devil's advocate. Like, this Wizards team doesn't have a whole lot to lose, and I think like you're the one that talks about this more than I. A lot of these guys are playing for future contracts. And not so much what's going on this year. And I think that right now, early in the season, that's going to be a big motivating factor for a lot of them. You're already seen it with some of these guys, like Montrezl Harrell being probably top of that list. The two things, though, concern me about the Wizards tonight. One, Dan Gafford went out last night. He's probably not going to play tonight. That's a huge piece of your big man rotation that's probably not going to be there tonight. And on top of that, probably even more importantly, is this, I believe, is the Wizards' first back-to-back, which means there's a potential that Spencer Dinwiddie could sit out this game as well. Nothing been official yet. Neither of these teams, since they both played last night, have released official injury reports. Not surprised me one bit to see him sit out and rest tonight as well. So you're talking about two guys that are huge parts of that rotation. One of them who's probably their second best source of offense, who could probably be out tonight. And you're telling me that the Hawks are only one-possession favorites despite also playing on the back-to-back. The way we talked about it yesterday, so I don't want to be too long-winded because I don't have an official play on this game, but the Hawks defense is for real. And if they don't have Dinwiddie and they don't have Gafford and you got DeAndre Hunter just sticking it to Bradley Beal all game, the Wizards are going to have problems scoring the basketball tonight. So many things, maybe even I'm leaning more under than laying the points here with the Hawks on the road, but I'm definitely not going to disagree with you one bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all over the Hawks. Like I said, last year, and just historically, I really didn't think that a team where Trae Young is your best player is a team that, I'm not going to say had what it takes to be a contender because that just sounds so disrespectful. I felt like they just needed more. Trae Young has kind of shown that he puts in the work because he's a dude that, for better or for worse, will always be compared to Steph because he's a smaller guy that can shoot with range, has handle and good vision. But Steph is a one-of-one, right? Nobody is Steph. Like it's so unfair to come into the league and be compared to one of the greatest of all time that doesn't really have anybody that's ever played like him. Like he literally helped him and Klay Thompson to help change the way we play the way the sport is played globally. So to be compared to that guy is super unfair. But you gotta say that I'm not gonna say he's living up to it, but he's like carved out his own niche. Like last year in the playoffs when he was doing the chili sign on Cold Blooded, when he's doing that in New York City. Steph's not doing none of that. So I kind of like that Trae Young has kind of said, you know what? I'm not Steph Curry, bro. I'm Trae Young, and I'm gonna make my own path in this league. And I feel like he's really starting to feel like basketball looks really easy for Trae Young right now. When I watch the Hawks play, I'm like, this guy looks like he's really figured it out. Like, you know, when you watch someone, you're like, oh, the game is really slowed down for them.
Yeah.
He looks like he's at that point. And I think that the Hawks really legitimately have a shot at contending with Miami for that 4th seed. I really believe that. So if you couldn't tell, I'm all in on the Hawks tonight. Let's move it along to the next one, fellas.
All right, I'm leading this one in because I have to do it.
Do it, my guy.
Listen up, Bing Bongers. It's Bulls night tonight. It's Bulls night tonight for several reasons. Now, I don't want to get too crazy on this because my play's on the total. But damn it, I might have something personal on the Bulls tonight to win. We'll see. I haven't yet done it. I'm a little concerned about Zach LaVine's thumb, but I digress. Tonight is a very important night in Chicago. Not only is it the first real opponent they've played this year, because let's be honest, I think their first 4 wins against teams that are combined, 2-12, something like that, straight up.
Yeah.
And this is why you always say don't gas up too much, Bulls fans. But this is the benchmark game for both of these teams. Because I mean, yeah, like other than the Celtics, I mean, I'm not too impressed with the Knicks beating the Sixers as they did. Because as we just said earlier, there's something wrong with the Sixers. Like let's just keep that out of the way. This is a nice benchmark game for both these two teams. But also, it's my guy Joakim Noah night in Chicago, Junior. And you know what that means? That means this crowd is going to be jacked up. Not only is it the Knicks coming into town, and it's the first time in my adult life, essentially, like literally since I wasn't even before I was a teenager almost, where both these teams are really good, like really good. I'm not gonna say just kind of good, because there was years there where in the Amari Stoudemire years in New York, and the Bulls had obviously their Eastern Conference contender team that got beat down by Miami a couple times at Derrick Rose's knees. But this is the first time these two teams have been really good at the same time in a very, very long time. And this is going to, I mean, you talk about two fan bases who just absolutely love talking trash to one another. And then now it's revitalized into a new generation in this one. I can't see this game being played any other way than really slow, because that's the way the Knicks and pretty much the Bulls like to play. It's going to be a really intense and physical, which, I mean, you could see that from not only the way that the game's going to be played, but I think with the way these two teams are built. And on top of that, this, you see these two teams and you probably see that, hey, this could be a first-round playoff matchup. If Miami falters or the Hawks falter, like you said, these are the other two teams that are kind of going to be that 4 or 5 spot potentially if the Sixers ever get their stuff together. I could get a top 3 seed. I love this game, but I think the under is absolutely the best play. Not only did I mention the first half under, but both these two teams are holding their opponents to 95 points per 100 possessions in the first half. You combine that with how this game is going to be played, the pace is going to be played at. And on top of that, the full game total is 215 points, yet I'm getting 110 in the first half. I have no idea what's going on with this first half total line, but I got it on the under. It's my lone official for the day. 110.5, I believe, is that. You can get, I think, maybe some shops at 109.5, so definitely line shop a little bit around for that one. But this first half, it's going to be nothing but amped up juice and lots of defense, and probably a pretty slow pace as well.
Yeah, you just made me feel nostalgic because, a big part of growing up was watching the Knicks versus the Bulls in the playoffs. Those are epic playoff series if you're old enough to remember those. So, I kind of miss both of those teams being good because they're both two of the most, the top 5 franchises in the league in terms of importance. Maybe not in terms of success, especially on the Knicks side of that equation. But for better or for worse, those are two of the major media markets in America. So it's beneficial to the league when they're both good. In terms of this game, though, I went with the Bulls because even though I've been talking smack about Chicago, there's one thing that's impressed me overall. It's the fact that they're 4-0 without their offense really clicking. Their offense is not playing well. It's not playing badly, but it's not playing up to the level that they would have expected before the season started. So when I see a Chicago Bulls team winning with defense, that's very encouraging to me because their offensive potential, they haven't even scratched the surface of that. And if they can show you that they can defend while their offense catches up, and again, with so many moving parts, it's really not that surprising that their offense would take time to catch up. They got a lot of potential. I'm going to say this also. I said the other day, the last time when I bet on the Bulls, and I actually ended up hitting that play, that one thing that worried me for Chicago's opponent that night, I can't remember who it is right now, is that the Bulls in transition, my eye test, all four of my eyes tell me these guys get up and down and get easy baskets. Lonzo Ball is literally, I'm not going to say he's a master of the fast break, but his ability to make the right pass at the right time with the right touch to get his guy just catch it and finish, it's actually him and his brother, they're incredible at that. It's unbelievable to watch them find passes that nobody else sees but them. And it's contagious. The Chicago Bulls are 5th in the league in fast break points per game. And I think that in this game, they're going to do the same thing to the New York Knicks, who tend to play at a slower pace, whose defense has really not been up to par by their standards so far. Their offense has been okay, but everything to me points to Chicago. I think that this line is highly disrespectful to Chicago. -1.5 at home. So you're saying the Knicks are better than the Bulls, like for sure? You sure? Are we 100% sure that's the case? Because I'm not. I've been talking a lot of smack about the Bulls, but it's not like I think the Knicks are world beaters either. So I'm taking the Bulls at home on a short line. Chicago fans, let's get this W, please. Jordan, you got anything else?
Books are just trying to get that handle up on the Knicks because they know where the sharp money's at tonight. It's with the Bulls, baby.
Yeah, it really is, man. I love the Bulls tonight. I love it. It's the first play I made tonight. Big money I got on this game, son. Big. Let's move on to the next game. The Battle of Texas between Los Spurs y Los Mavericks. Dallas hosting San Antonio. Battle of Texas. These games are always super weird, bro. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not even like my handicapping opinion. This is just I watch basketball my whole life opinion. And since I've started betting on it, every time I try to handicap this matchup, it kind of never goes as planned for me. So I actually am very curious to what your opinion is, and I'll give you my thoughts on this game.
So I think you and I have kind of talked about this already this season, and I won a little bit of money on the Spurs 2 nights ago, and I'm having a lot of trouble trying to figure out why the Spurs are 7-point dogs here. And I mean, I don't know if you feel the same way, but we've talked about this at length. This is at least the 3rd time we've talked about the Dallas Mavericks so far in this, in this show. And it's just a week and a half into the season, basically. But they're not as good as people, as the books are giving them credit for, as the public's giving them credit for, as the pundits are giving them credit for. Right now, they're Luka Doncic and Tim Hardaway and not a whole lot else. And that's not to be disrespectful to them, but like we talked about this 2 nights ago, it's not enough to be a top 4 team in the West or even win a first-round playoff matchup. You're gonna struggle to even make the playoffs with the way they're playing right now. And with Porzingis now questionable, which to be honest with the way he's playing, it may help tonight if he isn't there. But they're real thin up front, and Jakob Poeltl has been a monster this year. Dude just had a career game 2 nights ago. What's stopping him from doing that again here? I mean, speaking to guys who are kind of starting to figure things out, obviously it takes bigs a lot longer in this league to figure things out than it does guards and wings. But talk about a guy who, kind of was just like, yeah, he's a guy, he's okay, has turned into like, this guy is a legit top, starting center in the league. And he's going to give the Mavericks much smaller centers a problem. Like they had to play Boban the other night. Like Boban is the Dallas Mavericks, like break glass in case of emergency guys. It's an emergency in Dallas right now. I'm so close to taking these points, man. I'm not quite ready to do it, but only guy really missing for the Spurs tonight is going to be Doug McDermott, who looks like he's going to be out for the next week. But they have tons of depth. The wing, Devin Vassell is going to get a lot more run tonight. Expect him to have a good game. Dallas's defense hasn't been working very well. I'm almost ready to make the Spurs official, but just a really, really strong lean right now, +7.
I'm going to tell you something that's going to seem like it's off topic, but it's not. Just go with me here, okay? Yesterday I got into a Twitter argument, which is like super normal for me, with some dummy that was saying basically the Lakers should play LeBron at the 4 and Russell Westbrook at the 1. So I said, why would you want to take the ball out of, the second greatest player of all time by any metric, first, depending on your opinion, and put it into the hands of a guy who's a turnover machine, who's a terrible decision maker. So, anyways, we're going back and forth about it, and then at the end of the game, Russell Westbrook had a quadruple double, which is a triple double
with turnovers.
10 turnovers. I say that to say some of what that dummy was saying to me probably applies to Dallas in this sense. It's too much Luka. I know that doesn't sound right. Like, how could there be too much Luka? He's one of the best players in the league. But like the rest of the guys on that team, I feel like there's so much standing around and watching of Luka that their offense just becomes stagnant. Because think about it. 2 years ago, they were literally not only the number one team in the NBA. If you look at their points per 100 possessions that season, they had like one of the best offensive seasons of all time. Okay, which didn't make any sense because if you look at their roster, you're like, this roster had one, but it's because people didn't really know how to, like, they weren't used to the Luka show. Okay, we're just going to call it that. As there's more film, just like us as cappers, as there are more games, we have a bigger sample size to study and figure out. As NBA coaches watch Luka play more, they're going to start to figure out how to slow him down and make him do other things. That's where they kind of have to switch it up sometimes and be like, you know what, Luka, why don't you play off the ball a little bit? You don't have to have the responsibility of being a primary ball handler, primary playmaker, and primary scorer. Because guess what? If you watch Luka Doncic play defense, he doesn't give a shit about defense, dude. Like, he just doesn't. Like, it's not even that I don't think he's doing that on purpose. I think it's just kind of like, well, how much responsibility do you want one guy to have? Now, his defensive metrics look good this season if you go and look at his, his defensive rating. But look at the guys that they have him guarding. They pick whoever is by far the worst defensive player on the other team and be like, yo, go stand next to that guy. Don't even say guard him. Just go stand next to him because they ain't passing him the ball. The kind of the point I'm trying to make is I can't invest in this team until they have a second fiddle. Because Kristaps Porzingis is not it. The unicorn died. His horn got snapped off. I don't know what you want to say, but the unicorn, that guy does not exist anymore. Kristaps Porzingis is just an overpaid big man who doesn't grab any rebounds and can't defend like he used to. He's not the guy. So he is not the second fiddle. I know that I'm kind of going on a rant here. I'm just saying all that to say, who in their right mind is laying more than 2 possessions with this team right now? What for what reason? What are you doing that based on? Because
I don't know.
If you're doing it based on Luka, okay. I mean, I guess I could kind of understand that because he's amazing, one of the best players in the league. Yeah, they're 28th in 3-point shooting. They're 19th in free throws made. So they don't shoot threes. They don't get easy baskets. They don't rebound particularly well. I mean, so far they're rebounding a little bit better. And somehow with one of the best playmakers possibly ever, they're 22nd in assists. None of this makes any sense. None of it makes any sense. So I'm going to stop talking about this by saying, if you're laying points with Dallas, can you hit me on Twitter and please explain to me what you're seeing that I don't see? Because there's no way that Dallas should be favored by more than 5 to 5.5 points against anybody right now, except maybe Orlando and possibly the Thunder. That's really it, in my opinion.
No, I completely agree with you. I do want to say just one thing, like, Jalen Brunson's balling out of control, but the fact that they're having to play him and, like you said, like probably having to start to put the ball off of Luka's hands and into his more off the bench, like he can't be your third best option. And like I said, Tim Hardaway being your second and Porzingis just being absolutely nowhere. Like that, you have to have more than that if you're going to want to make the playoffs in the Western Conference. It's just as simple as that.
It's really that simple, man. I can't even elaborate more. They need more. Luka by himself in the West? No. Let's get to our final game so we can get you guys out of here. Memphis Grizzlies at Golden State Warriors. Now, I don't have a look on this game. I really, really want to talk myself into it. -6, though, you can miss me with all that. Okay? Miss me with this nonsense for 2 reasons. One, when I watch the Grizzlies play, not just this season, but last season, you can never say the Memphis Grizzlies don't play hard and give 100% effort. You can never say the Memphis Grizzlies aren't tough. Well, if that's my description of a team, when they get shellacked by a team that I don't think is better than them, because Portland's not better than Memphis. Not in my opinion. I could be wrong. Obviously, that's just my opinion. But when they get shellacked, I expect them to go into this game looking at gold, especially Ja Morant. Like, if you're Ja Morant, you're like, God damn, Steph Curry. But what do you think? Steph Curry's excited to play Ja Morant right now?
No.
I don't think he is, son. Because you want to talk about another guy that doesn't defend, that's Steph Curry. So I'm just not ready to disrespect Memphis at 5.5. And I know some people listening to this are like, dude, what's the difference? Possessions is the difference. Game situation is the difference. When you watch the game at the end of the game and your spread gets screwed, why does it usually get screwed? Because it's like a 3-4 point game, and one team is desperately trying to make shots while they foul, and all that variance starts kicking in. These numbers anyways, Jordan, you're in the numbers guy. Please explain to them the key numbers in the NBA and how much those numbers, the final score lands on those numbers versus some of the numbers that bookmakers put it out.
It's just the same thing as football. We talk about 3, 6, 7, 10. They're like it's 2, 3, 6. Like in the NBA, and you just go up by multiples of what the baskets are scored by. Yeah, you're exactly right. This line's super sharp. This is the first thing I was going to say, and you said it for me. So I mean, that just knows we're on the same wavelength. This one, like, I so excited to watch this game tonight. I can't wait to see Ja Morant against Steph Curry, but that's almost the reason why I'm staying away from him, because if Dillon Brooks is still out, which I'm assuming he is, he would have been the one guy they would have said, Ja, we don't need you trying to guard Steph Curry all night. We need you scoring 30 points tonight and getting us a win. We're going to stick Dillon Brooks on Steph Curry for most of the night. Doesn't mean you're going to not get your opportunities to, but without that, now they have to stick Ja Morant on him all night, and that's just going to be bad business. And coming off of the back-to-back. Obviously, the Grizzlies didn't look good in the second half yesterday. Doesn't give me much confidence to bet them here, and everybody knows that I'm ready to bet the Grizzlies at a moment's notice. It's not going to be tonight, though. I've seen a lot of tasty underdogs against the Golden State Warriors tonight. The other night against Oklahoma City was a perfect example. They were looking like they were going to cover and potentially win, and then what happens? The Warriors just turn it on, fourth quarter, they line them up, end up winning and covering. So I'm not getting involved with this tonight. I would love to, but I just can't wait to watch this game so I can hope that Ja Morant outduels Steph Curry, crossing my fingers. But that might be a tall order.
Yeah, so I have no look on this game. I'll just say that if I can get it at 6.5, 7, I'm on the Grizzlies. It's just that simple for me. I think that they're going to bounce back. I think that they are for real. They see themselves as a playoff team, and I think that of all the teams that you can say to yourself, they're not going to take a night off, I feel like this Grizzlies team qualifies, led by Ja Morant, who never takes a possession off. So that's it for this episode. Let's recap our picks, so we can get y'all out of here, and so you can start cashing some tickets.
Yeah,
I'll go first.
Let's do it.
2 money line bets. Hawks -150, and like I said, just wait a little bit. You should probably be able to get a better number than that. I'm about to literally get off the show and bet a new price. And then we got Los Bulls at -120. Bulls. Like our old friend Blackjack used to say. I'm all over them tonight. They are looking for real, not because I believe in the gas and the highlights I see on ESPN, but because of the hard work that comes on the defensive end. If you play defense, I'm willing to invest in you. So I'm looking at the Bulls tonight. What you got, Jordan?
Love that. I may just have to ride just because, so I can talk some more trash tonight, because I've already been talking trash to all my Knicks fans friends today. So I may just have to join in just for that factor, because if I can't put up, I got to shut up. So I'm probably going to have to put up tonight. So I'll be riding with you on that one. Another one close to official as it can get that hasn't been is the Mavs +7. But only thing official that I got locked in right now, under 109.5 first half. New York and Chicago. I think you could probably get 110 right now as well. I'm not scared of it going the other way. This is going to be a bloodbath early on.
That's it for us. Thank you for joining us as usual. Please make sure, as always, to head over to bookmakerreview.com. Check out all the articles that we have there. Great picks, myself and Jordan up there. Make sure to subscribe. Share this video with your friends and people looking to cash tickets. And please hit that like button for us. My name is Junior Browne. As always, I'm joined by the homie, Jordan Sharp. See y'all tomorrow, same time, same place. Thank you for joining.
Let's go Bulls. Sit down, Knicks fans.
Bulls.